This is absolutely huge. Nick Evers is a Wisconsin Badger. The commitment's been announced. Let's go. Let's talk about it. A big, big morning present for the Wisconsin Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Badgers emergency pod, emergency show. I'm still a little under the weather, but none of that matters because we got stuff to talk about. Nick Evers, he has committed to the University of Wisconsin, a big-time transfer quarterback, 4-star quarterback. We're going to talk about kind of my big, really quick takeaways, and we have a longer show coming up to talk about this with the guys, but I just wanted to really quickly discuss my immediate takeaways and then get a bunch of comments from y'all. How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. We're live right now. Let me know in the live comments. Again, if you want to jump on and have a longer take, we're going to do a longer reaction show later. Good. When I get all the guys together and we'll really chop it up from a bunch of angles. But right now, this is an exciting time. This is crazy. So here's my really quick takeaways from this. First one, let's set the stage. Nick Evers, who is he? 6'3", 190-pound quarterback, went to Oklahoma. This is a guy that had national pedigree, right? You're talking about offers from Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, Penn State, top 200 quarterbacks. Sports Illustrated had him as a top 100 guy. Okay, dual threat, fast, 4.5-ish speed with a really good arm, quick release. He's got a lot of the tools that you draw up if you want a quarterback at the college level. All right, so what does this mean? The biggest thing that I take away from this, and the biggest thing that I think we need to take away from this is we've been talking about it. We've been listening to the coaches talk about it. Wisconsin is playing at the big boy table. Like this feels like a big boy college football program move, right? Bringing in multiple transfer quarterbacks to evaluate, big time transfer quarterbacks. They're not playing in the little kid table. Bringing in Brennan Armstrong, who's Virginia's all-time leading passer, 4-star quarterback out of Oklahoma, Nick Evers. It feels like we're playing at the big boy table, and this is validation of that. The other thing that I think is really interesting is I think this probably should put at least some of the NIL concerns to rest, right? Because I have no insight on this one, but I don't think you're getting a 4-star transfer quarterback out of Oklahoma if the NIL department isn't alive and well. Just throwing it out there. That should let people feel, breathe easy a little bit. And this is also the other thing I'd say, talking on the first point of being a big-time college football program, this feels like we now have the coaching ecosystem that attracts top-level talent, right? And this is no disrespect right now to Paul Chryst or Jim Leonard. I don't think Nick Evers comes here to play in that offense that we had. I don't think Nick Evers is coming here if you don't have a guy like Phil Longo as the offensive coordinator, right? And Gino, the probable tight end coach, just developed Desmond Ridder, for Pete's sake. Like, this is a quarterback's dreamland if you're talking about coaching talent, pedigree, what they've done, the offense we're going to run. By the way, we're going to give you a good offensive line and a running game to back you up. Are you kidding me? All these things are clicking, and it feels like for the first time in a long time, it really feels like Wisconsin is at the big boy table, and they're in that battle with other elite programs because Nick Evers has other options, right? He's buying into this program, just like Luke Fickell bought into Wisconsin, just like Phil Longo is buying in. He's absolutely buying into this. I love it. That's my first big takeaway. This feels like, again, validation that Wisconsin is a big boy program, and they're playing at the big boy table. All right, next thing. Why he isn't Graham Mertz. I have already seen 17 tweets about this is the highest rated quarterback. Let's get excited since Graham Mertz. This is just how he felt about Graham Mertz. I get it. We're all a little I don't know, gun shy. We're all a little whatever you want to call it, right? This is the last highly rated quarterback we've gotten since Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz didn't work out. That does not mean vis-a-vis that A equals B over here, right? This dude's different, and this situation is different for several reasons. And I'm going to get into the next one. Like, listen, we need proper expectations as well. That's my next segment. So don't listen. I'm coming to that, I promise. But let's start with the fact that Graham Mertz was never put into a position where he had guys like Phil Longo coaching him. Okay, where he had a quarterback-friendly system. That's the biggest reason this is not like Graham Mertz. Nick Evers is coming into a situation that is far friendlier to quarterbacks than Graham Mertz ever had at Wisconsin. It just is what it is. Okay. And I'm not trying to, again, go on that train where I make excuses for Graham Mertz, but Graham Mertz never had this coaching system behind him. He never had an offense that was friendly to quarterbacks. Okay. So coming into a spot that is really quarterback friendly. And the other reason this isn't like Graham Mertz is Evers can run. Right? We've heard Luke Fickell talk about it. I want a mobile quarterback. We see, find me elite college programs now that prefer pro-style quarterbacks. They just don't really exist anymore. It doesn't mean you can't have a good one, but he brings an element of mobility that Graham Mertz never had. There's always going to be, you're thinking about, RPO action. You're thinking about zone read action now with Braylon now. And now you have a quarterback with that can threaten, that can take 20 yards and rip it off. You have a quarterback on 3rd and 7 who can rip off 15 yards and just break the defense's back. All those things Ohio State quarterbacks have done to us for the last 20 years, right? Just breaking our back on 3rd and 5. Now, Wisconsin has that guy, though. That's why this isn't like Graham Mertz. Right? He brings physical tools to the table that Mertz just never had. And he's in a coaching ecosystem that Mertz never had. So there's a lot to like here. By the way, we're going to get to comments and jump a couple of people on the show really quick after this first segment. I did throw it out there. This is just a quick show. So if you have some takes, just kind of pop in, throw them out there, and we'll just roll with it. We're going to do a longer show on this, I promise. All right, now here's the last my last big take on this. Also have proper expectations, right? This is a player that's inexperienced. It's a lot to expect him to immediately start next year and be an incredible quarterback. If he is the starter, which isn't guaranteed yet, because we're going to get into that in a second too. If he is the starter, there's going to be some learning curve here, okay? So just be excited. This is a huge upside move. And even if it doesn't work out, it's validation that Wisconsin is now parking in the valet section, right? If nothing else, this is validation that this coaching staff and this program is at a different spot right now than it was even 6 months ago, okay? It still may not work out because a lot of high-profile quarterbacks don't. And just keep that in the back of your head. Be super excited about this. You should be. The upside is there to change the program. The upside is there to change the trajectory of Wisconsin football with this type of quarterback talent. But that talent still has to prove it on the field now. So that's going to be the next. The last thing I would say on this is Wisconsin, according to tweets, is still after Brennan Armstrong. They're still prioritizing Brennan Armstrong, which I think, I've said it before, that's just the home run. If you can get Nick Evers in and Brennan Armstrong, now you have an experienced quarterback that can potentially take the reins for 1 year, and you have Evers who can grow underneath him and be the future. Or Evers might just beat them all out. He might just be the dude, and that's totally fine as well. So, yeah, it's going to be super interesting. If they are able to land Brennan Armstrong, it'll be the greatest offseason in recent Wisconsin history, okay? Going from where we were to landing Luke Fickell, Phil Longo, and 2 potential game-changing quarterbacks in the span of 6 months. Are you kidding me? Nuts. That's absolutely nuts. All right. We're going to take a quick break and then get into some people in the queue really quick, a bunch of comments, talk about it. I want your reactions. This is a show for y'all. How's the community feeling? Are we excited? Are you nervous? Let me know. But we're going to get into that next. First, today's show is brought to you by National Safety Highway Transportation Administration. And I've talked about this before. It's that time of the season. It's the holidays. Excuse me. And you have to be careful. Like, don't make any crazy mistakes out there where you might hurt yourself or hurt someone else. Driving high is considered driving under the influence. That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every single state, even the states where marijuana is legal. That means driving high can get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement can't tell, you're wrong. Your friends can tell, your coworkers can tell, your parents can absolutely tell. What makes you think a law enforcement officer doesn't know if you're driving high? Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive, you're not. Because the bottom line is, if you feel different, you drive different. And remember, driving high is driving under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by the National Highway Transport Safety Administration. All right, let's jump right back into this. I don't want to waste any time on today's show. I appreciate all of y'all so much. Thank you for making Locked On Badgers one of your first listens every day. I'm going to roll through the queue really quick. Again, let's keep these takes a little quicker on this show because we're going to do a bigger one, longer one. And honestly, I'm kind of under the weather, but we're here for it. So, excuse me. Let's start with New England. Tony, you've been in the queue from the jump. What is going on, my friend? How are you feeling today?
I'm a little under the weather myself too, so I know how you feel. I'm actually here with my son Cameron, the one who graduated from Wisconsin. So
Love it.
and got me into Wisconsin football. But was super excited about the commitment, and I guess the next shoe to drop will be whether this has some knock-on impact on other recruits coming.
That's a great point, man. We're going to talk about that too. New England Tony, thank you so much for jumping in. And again, we're doing a longer show, so don't feel like I'm trying to truncate anybody. NJH31, what's up, my friend? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. How are you doing?
I'm a little under weather, but I'm Badger stoked. So that'll power me through.
Same. I just had a snow blow my driveway, and I was like, you know what? We got Nick Evers. Like,
Let's
it's worth
go.
it. It's worth it. So I'm just so happy we finally have a dual threat QB. Him, like you said, him and Phil Longo's system is gonna be amazing. I can't wait for it.
I love it, man. Thank you for jumping in. We're going to do a longer one later, I promise. Adam Hefty, man, what's going on, my friend? Longtime friend and listener of the show. Has jumped on before. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I think the underlying part of it is how excited I am for Braylon Allen in this offense. I mean, we kind of looked at him last season as, he kind of underperformed, but he's a unique back. He's a giant, strong, giant man who, if you give him the ball on a draw play, he's going to wreck people. And that's what I'm super excited about, having a passing game that complements the running game so well.
That's an excellent point, man. We're going to get into that more again, and I promise to bring you on more on a later show. We're going to just keep this one a little quicker, but I do want to talk about that because that's something that I mentioned in, I think, just yesterday's show, talking about players that will be really impacted just by Luke Fickell's system, right? By Phil Longo's system. And one of those dudes is Braylon Allen. We talked about his vision is weird this year. He's picking his places. He's not just putting his shoulder down. Some of that is having like 19,000 guys at the line of scrimmage, right? Like some of that's on Braylon for sure, but some of that is having a congested spot at the line of scrimmage and not seeing a lot of room. He's going to have so much more space this year. I can't wait to see it. All right, let's keep rolling through some of these comments. Dan Larson. And by the way, thank you everybody who commented, who's in the stream right now, who's watching. Y'all are the best. Y'all the reason this Badger show is really doing well and picking up steam. It's all of y'all building it up. Dan says, looks like the Badgers got their new quarterback in the nick of time. I see what you did there. I love it. Joe Town, hell yes. Kit Bordeaux, keep it 100. Corey D, nothing against Jimmy, but this is why you hire Luke Fickell 10 out of 10 times. Yes. It's nothing against Jimmy, but and listen, it's not to say Jimmy couldn't have done this or pulled this. I don't feel like he would have pulled Phil Longo, right? Phil Longo specifically cited the relationship with Luke Fickell as to why he came to Madison. And I guarantee you Phil Longo is an instrumental part of landing Nick Evers, right? If you're connecting that chain, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Jimmy is getting this level of quarterback. So, yeah, I was always about Luke Fickell. If you can get him, you got to get him. Great comment, Corey. Tony Hopkins, well said. I was trying to temper expectations for next year, but this has me jacked. Yeah, don't temper them. Let's go crazy. Like this could be Wisconsin can listen. This could be they still have to take a couple pieces. Let's not put the cart before the horse, right? There's a couple pieces they still need to get. Coaching turnover and system change is a real thing. There's going to be some hiccups, but the schedule's manageable. And if you hit on Evers and he's that guy, or even if Brennan Armstrong comes in, you now have the best quarterback in the Big Ten West. And how cool is this, by the way? Like I was talking about this in the group chat with the boys off to the side, but Nebraska hired Matt Rule, and Nebraska's like, yeah, take that, right? And then we hired Luke Fickell, and Nebraska's kind of like, oh, dang it, that was a good hire. And then Iowa brings in like a Cade McNamara, right? And Iowa's like, yeah, and Cade's like, yeah, we're gonna be better. And then we bring in Nick Evers, and Iowa's like, oh, that's a pretty good quarterback. It's like we dunked on everybody in the West. All their moves, we've just kind of like been off the side, and then we're like trump card. It is an exciting time. And with that thought, really quickly, I love this. I saw this on Twitter. This is from Badger fan Greg Pfluger. He said, this is how I describe new committed Badgers quarterback Nick Evers. Not good for my beloved quarterback, our Gophers. I don't like this development. Nope. And I think that's where a lot of Big Ten West fan bases are right now. They're seeing Wisconsin. I mean, college ball is always an arms race. Wisconsin is rearming at a level commensurate with a first world power, right? And that's very exciting. Another one off Twitter from Logan. Nick Evers is a program-changing quarterback. I'm still in shock. Yeah, agreed. Like, this is not Wisconsin of yesteryear, and we've talked about it with the firing of Paul Chryst. We talked about with the hiring of Luke Fickell. We talked about with the hiring of Phil Longo and now Nick Evers. We're just seeing these dominoes continue to stack up in the Wisconsin is not the Wisconsin of old category. And it's pretty awesome. It's very exciting. All right, let's keep going with some of these comments. Forrest Aguirre, what the Fickell is going on? Dude is a recruiting machine, hoping he's a coaching machine too. And that's a great thing with Luke Fickell. Forrest, man, thank you always for the comments. We don't even need to hope that Luke Fickell is a coaching machine because he's proven it, right? That's the beauty of Luke Fickell. There's no real projection here. We've already seen it. You would have had to project with Jim Leonhard. And I think we would have got there. And I think a lot of people would have agreed with it, but you don't have to project with Luke Fickell. You know he's the dude because he's already proven it. He brought Cincinnati to the playoffs. So, yeah, it's just so awesome. YB Rubin, thank you. Chris McIntosh, agreed. Monty D, yes, sir, let's go. Agreed. Samarson says, this is insane with a crazy emoji face. I mean, all of this is dead on, y'all. Uncultured Barbarian, holy crap, exclamation point. Here's a good one. So Brett McDonald, and by the way, thank you again for the comments as well. Watch for a receiver and tight end to follow. That might be one of the more interesting side avenues of this decision, right? You get the quarterback in, and pretty soon you start to see receivers follow, tight ends follow, other players follow. Quarterbacks are the nexus of the team. And you just landed a dude who people follow on social media. Like people get excited to see Nick Evers on social media. Receivers do, tight ends do, offensive tackles do. Talent attracts talent, right? And the quarterback is at the top of that talent food chain. So, yeah, it's exciting. I think you're going to see a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot more coming on as well. Exit Reality Springside. Congrats on more subscriptions than Locked On Wolverines. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we don't really talk about it much because, again, it's not about that as much, but we do have the most subscribed Locked On Big Ten channel at this point, which, again, is really a testament to the people on the show. It's a testament to the people in the community, the people on Discord. So, thank you. I do appreciate that. Ryan Anderson. People act like Mertz is a 5'3" or a 5'3" 40 guy. He can move. He was just playing an assistant that didn't take into account his strengths. Look at Armstrong at UVA. No, I think, Ryan, that's a fair point. Mertz is not Joel Stave, right? He's not a statue. He can move, but he can't. Listen, it's also fair to say he can't move like Nick Evers, right? He can move around in the pocket. I think he's actually pretty good in the pocket in terms of avoiding rush. But he's also a guy that we saw slide 2 yards short of a critical first down, right? Nick Evers has that first down in that situation by 5 yards. And that's the difference. I don't think they want Nick Evers to come in and be an option quarterback or they're drawing up like quarterback power with him. But he does give you an element with the legs that Graham Mertz never did and just never could. And that's not on Mertz. It's just he didn't have that in the bag. Let's keep going here. We got a bunch of comments. Kenneth Wortman, totally stoked for the upcoming season. Agreed. Let's see. Eat, drink, listen. We Dirk Diggler, big boys with Fick. That's Scott right there. He's very excited. By the way, Scott's excited. Rajiv's excited. Justin's excited. A lot of people are really about this. Big Apple Bucky, I can really understand why you're excited about Evers' commitment. Yeah, there's so much here to be stoked about. And we're going to get to more and more of this. We're going to do a bigger reaction show with everybody. I see Daryl just jumped in the queue as well. So I'm going to let him kind of maybe have the last word here. Bo Dragon, a longtime listener to the show. Will anyone be smiling at Christmas more than Chris McIntosh? I mean, maybe like Keontae Lewis, Skylar Bell, and Chimere Dike. They're going to be pretty stoked, right? Imagine that Christmas present you're opening up as a receiver at Wisconsin. It's not just Evers. And again, none of this is trying to dance on Graham Mertz is great, but it's much bigger than Evers. It's the Phil Longo system. It's Luke Fickell. Now it's a quarterback. You got to feel as a receiver, that big things are happening. And this is probably a really good spot for me to be here. Preston Brosner, super excited about Evers coming in. It's a new day in Madison. Again, get super excited. Yeah, I think everyone should be excited about this. This is a huge deal for so many reasons. So, Daryl, I'm going to bring you on the show really quick. How are you feeling this morning, my friend? Oh, lost Daryl. No worries. We'll get Daryl back. There is a lot to talk about. We're going to continue really talking about all of this probably over the next couple of days. We're going to see more dominoes fall, I'm sure. Nathan Hafner says, I can't wait for the Evers to Skylar Bell connection. Coolman06 says, let's go. JK says, Varsity Collective allows us to pool NIL contributions. You should sign up. Yeah, that's a good point. So if you're interested, I'll put the link out. The Varsity Collective is the engine behind NIL, which helps to bring in players like this. Okay, there is an easy way to subscribe. You can do monthly payments if you want to. I'm not connected to it. I do put money into it, but I know not everybody's in that spot. But we'll put that out if anybody's interested. Let's see. David Polonez says, I'm going to miss the 8-man boxes we've been running into the last 2 decades. It's always tough to sense sarcasm on the internet, and sometimes it's not. Right? Sometimes it's pretty easy to see it. So with that, we're going to wrap it up, y'all. Really do appreciate everybody listening. Like I said, I want to do a quick show just to talk about why it's such a big deal. Jimmy Weidman also says Snowden in town, a lot of buzz. That's Amari Snowden, the 6'3" werewolf defensive back. He is incredible. If we get him, it's just going to add on to this recruiting hype. But with that, on Wisconsin, we're going to have a bunch more with this. Probably maybe another show later today if possible. I'm a little under the weather, but going to have a lot more with this. On Wisconsin, let's go. Appreciate all of y'all so much.